What's up, guys? Let me start off by saying thanks for taking the time to watch this video. To all my subscribers, all the support that I've gotten over the last few months, ever since really MLB 12 The Show came out. It's been a lot of fun playing MLB Show for everybody, putting the videos together, interacting with all you guys in the live streams and on the chat here when you post comments. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to continue doing this until you guys stop watching. So I appreciate everybody that's out there that watches my videos, that gives me support, that leaves comments, that hits the like button, hits the favorite button, come out to my live streams and all that kind of stuff. Without you guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, and I wouldn't be in the position to make a video like this. So my name's Kevin Bull. A lot of you guys know that from my Road to the Show character. I just use my real name in there. But on YouTube, I'm known as Baef or baefed. I've been playing MLB series since MLB '09 when I first got the PlayStation 3. I used to play it before that on the PlayStation Portable. I had the PSP back in the day. To me, it's one of, if not the best sports game simulator that's out today. Certainly trumps Madden and NBA and all that as far as the realistic approach they put into the game, not to mention just the play style. I feel like it's the best sports game out there. And I think because of that is why, like myself and the community is so passionate about what they want to see in the next version of MLB The Show. Now, me being a YouTuber gives me the ability to share those expressions and those feelings from the community a little bit easier than a normal person would have who plays the game at home. So because of this, I've decided to put this video together to go over what myself and what you guys, the viewers, believe should be added, removed, or changed from MLB 13 The Show, in hopes that maybe a developer, a community manager, or someone in the know at Sony can see it, feel it, and believe in what this community is asking, and makes it happen if possible. So I made a video a week ago or so asking all of you guys in the community what changes you want to see in MLB 13 The Show. And basically this video is what we've all came up with. Now obviously this is from the community. Some of it's from myself, but a lot of it's from the community. I've received like 100 or several hundred comments on that video, and we're gonna go across all of those comments and put together a pretty good list of all the things we want to see changed. Now, obviously, I can't add everything because there's a lot of stuff in there that's just very minute detail stuff. I don't think a lot of that stuff is gonna get noticed by if I just spot out something in this video. So these are some of the more major changes, some of the things that we all want to see, and hopefully you guys all agree. Now obviously you're not going to agree on everything, but a lot of this stuff was mentioned on several comments, so I'm going to start off with some of the bigger ones. But I know that the development time for games is a long time, and obviously it might be tough to add a lot of this stuff into MLB 13 The Show, even if Sony sees it and says, yes, these are good ideas and we want to do that. It takes a while to put all that stuff together, and with MLB 13 The Show probably due out in March, that doesn't give a lot of time to add some of the more advanced features that we're going to talk about. So even if that doesn't happen, if Sony at least sees this stuff and says, hey, that's a good idea, it's not going to make it for MLB 13 The Show, but we're definitely going to add it to our big board for MLB 14 The Show, then at least it feels like we've accomplished something. So let's get started. And like I said, I'm going to start off with some of the most requested changes first, just so these are ones that I saw multiple comments on. So let's get started. So first, probably the most single requested change has to do with the announcing crew for MLB The Show. Matt Vasgersian, Dave Campbell, they've been a great set of announcers for the show for many years. But because they've been the staple of MLB The Show for so long, they've become stale to listen to be honest. I think they need to take a cue from Madden and shake things up a little bit, possibly bring in someone like Joe Buck or even newcomers like Terry Francona or Oral Hershiser. All those guys from the ESPN crew do a good job. Just some new blood. It doesn't have to be anybody specific, just somebody new. Some even have suggested that, even though I know this would be very hard and time-consuming to do, is to have the announcers change depending on where you play. So, for example, if you're playing in Yankee stadiums, you would hear the voice and call from Phil Rizzuto. Either way, I think the community thinks it's time for a change. Vashkirchen and Campbell have had a great run, but it's time for something new. Just like I said, it's getting stale, so they need to do something. It doesn't matter who it is, just something new. The second and close second is making the money you earn in contracts during your Road to the Show career count for something. Currently, when you sign a new lucrative contract in Road to the Show, the money really doesn't mean anything for your player. Maybe if you sign low contracts, it would give your team the ability to sign other free agents, but negotiating for more money basically does nothing for your pro. So trying to ask for more money in the Road to the Show doesn't really do anything for your character. It's just there. So here's some examples what we believe you could make money in Road to the Show useful for. Maybe the ability to buy new things such as bats, cleats, hairstyle, gloves, etc. Ability to buy a house, which could help you recovery times or injuries or increase your durability, something along those lines. Add attributes you can only increase with money from contracts. So things like clutch hitting, so maybe move that to where you have to use money instead of training points. Maybe something called second wind, where your guy is faster after the seventh inning, so like a little special ability. Maybe a spectacular catch attribute, so if you're in the outfield, maybe you could, or even in the infield, making spectacular diving catches and throws from your knees, stuff like that. Maybe you have a laser arm attribute that increases your accuracy and arm strength from throwing from the outfield to home plate. Maybe a special pickoff move as a pitcher. Maybe a hustle option where your ability to leg out doubles and singles better. Or just maybe use the money to buy training points and get special treatment to heal injuries, things like that. I think obviously the big one is maybe ability to unlock new bats, cleats, and hairstyles. So I think as part of that ability to use your money, there should also be a way to get endorsements from companies like Nike and Louisville Slugger and things like that, that to use those products in-game for money on top of the money earned from your club on your contract. I think this would be a win-win for Sony because the players, well, win-win for Sony and the players because Sony could get some advertising revenue for putting name brand cleats, bats in the game, but players get a new way to customize their Road to the Show players. Yeah, and another Road to the Show change we like, the community would like to see, is the ability to create your own batting stance, swing, and pitching style. So players would be able to choose their lower leg position, movement from a list along with upper body, bat movements, leg kicks, follow-throughs, etc., and put it all together to have their own custom swing and pitching motion. On top of that, users should also be able to pick their own home run celebration for no doubters. Strikeout celebrations are opposite of celebration there. Be able to select how they interact with other players after they hit home runs or close a game. Maybe special handshakes, pointing in the sky, pointing to someone in crowd, etc. More customization in every aspect of Road to the Show makes a more engaging experience and something that Road to the Show players have been asking for years. So part of the issue that a lot of people see is when they pick a batting stance in Road to the Show, their home run celebration type view is different, and it's all based on the swing you pick. So an ability to choose that along with being able to put together your own swing, custom swing or custom pitch motion would be fantastic. Another request that I see a lot in the community is for players and coaches to be able to argue calls on the field with officials, whether it be balls or strikes out at the base, The ability to talk to the officials after a botch call can change the way the game is played. Maybe it makes the officials call the game differently if you argue calls or how heated you or your coach becomes. You should be able to be thrown out of games if you argue too much or too intensely. This should also come back to your pay and endorsements. If you get kicked out of games, maybe you get benched or fined. Maybe you can lose your endorsements if you're giving them a bad name with your play or attitude on the field. This would bring a whole new dynamic to the game of baseball. So obviously we're not asking for charging the mound after beans, even though that would be cool too. I know that's something that probably wouldn't want to be advertised in a baseball game, but just the ability to say, like, after an ump has a bad call on a ball or a strike, your guy can just turn around and say what gives. And maybe that makes him change the way he calls the game the rest of the game. Or if you do it too many times, you get kicked out of the game, you get fined, you lose some money. I think that would be awesome. So the next thing I want to talk about is the draft in Road to the Show. It's always felt very random where you get drafted. There never seems to be any logic as to why you were drafted by a certain team. Many people in the community, including myself, would like to see it expanded, possibly with the addition of a little league or high school portion of Road to the Show. After you create your character, your player should enter a little league or high school career, maybe just a little league World Series or a high school playoff series. Scouts would be on hand to watch your games, and depending on your performance in those few games that you have, you can start to get an idea of where you might end up in the draft. Maybe as the draft builds up, you get interviewed by teams that are interested in drafting you. Those interviews could possibly positively or negatively affect your draft stock and how high or low you go and how important you would be on the team if you were drafted with them. For example, let's say if you do well in high school playoffs and well on your interviews and drafted in the first round, you should be a coveted prospect and get every opportunity to play right away. Maybe even start in AA instead of AAA. Or maybe start in AAA instead of AA. But on the flip side, if you don't do well in the playoffs, maybe you blow away your team in an interview, you can get drafted a little higher, but not see a ton of playing time in the first year, maybe as a bench player in the AA. If Little League and high school is out of the question, maybe take the boring training drills and put some of those together, and based on that score, can determine your stats. I like the training drills as far as what they do for your player. They just seem very tedious, especially when you're in the bigs already. But I think those could be a good way if you didn't want to do the whole let's play a little league career or a high school career. Maybe just start off with some training. Have coaches or scouts run you through some training drills, and based on that performance, that's your stock when you get drafted. But so the next topic is trading in Road to the Show and position changes. A lot of complaints from the community is how often you get traded when you're just starting out in Road to the Show. Most players get traded before they ever step foot in the bigs. I know this is kind of realistic. Hot prospects get moved at trade deadlines all the time in real baseball, as big names get moved from minor leaguers to try and help playoff-bound teams. But it seems like a lot of times the trade either doesn't make sense or happen way too often. If you are that hot prospect for your team and you're doing good, it should take a blockbuster trade for them to want to move you. Most teams, if they have that guy that they believe will be an everyday superstar in their minor leagues, they do not want to trade them unless the deal is just too good to pass up. We feel that Road to the Show players should only be traded if it makes sense, if you're not tearing the cover off the ball on a consistent basis, or if you're a pitcher, you're lights out more times than not. You shouldn't be traded as easy as it is now. A player should also be able to change positions, which also happens quite frequently in minor leagues. For example, let's say you're a third baseman and you play for the Tigers organization. Chances of you making an MLB roster at third base is pretty tough considering who you have in front of you. Miggy Cabrera. You should be able to make the switch and work playing at an outfield position. Maybe it gives you a penalty of training points or something like that, but you should be able to move to a new position, at least if you're still in the minor leagues. And this kind of stuff happens all the time in real baseball, where maybe a position player moves from third base to second base because that team needs that needs a new second baseman. So maybe the managers ask you to move to different positions to help you get to the major leagues quicker. I think that would be an awesome aspect of Road to the Show. And to go along with this, once your Road to the Show character makes it to the bigs, advancement goals need to be reduced to once a year or removed at all. Removed completely, I should say. Have a set of realistic goals you need to hit. For example, if you're a first baseman, maybe you need to hit 20 home runs and drive in 80 RBIs in your first year. Getting benched in the MLB when you're a seasoned player and having a fantastic stats because you do not meet an advancement goal period is just plain stupid and needs to be addressed. It works great when moving up from AA to AAA into the MLB, but once you are there, you need to be more realistic goals to meet and not get penalized for riding the pine. Yeah, get penalized by riding the pine, I should say. If you do not take enough walks in 3 weeks, even if you hit 400 and drove in 20 in the same 3 weeks, you shouldn't get benched for not having enough bunts or walks or whatever. The advancement goals work perfectly when you're moving up, but when you're in the MLB, you just maybe need career or season goals that you need to hit. And if you don't hit those season goals, maybe you get fined money or something like that. But the every few week advancement goals just does not work once you're in the bigs. We also feel the Road to the Show player gets injured, they should have to have a rehabilitation stint in AA or AAA before returning to the majors, just like they do in real life. Along with this, when your player finally retires, give the option of becoming a coach, maybe taking you into franchise mode with the players and stats for your Road to the Show game modes. You should also, if your player was good enough, go to the Hall of Fame with a ceremony inducting him. So to go back to the injuries, once your player is injured and they're on like the 30-day or 60-day DL, once they're getting close to coming off of that, they should be moved down to AA or AAA. Have a few games under their belt, just like the normal road or MLB does, and then they get called back up to the bigs. I think that would be pretty awesome to do. But I know I'm talking a lot about Road to the Show, but I feel it has the most room for improvement. And for me personally, it's my favorite game mode, so let's continue with that for right now. I would like to have the ability to take over the career of anyone playing in the bigs now to start my Road to the Show. So, for example, I could take over Mike Trout's career, or Prince Fielder, or Jared Weaver, and start playing as that player just like a self-created Road to the Show guy. There should also be a Legends list we could pick from to bring back the likes of Mickey Mantle or Babe Ruth, even bring back guys like Barry Bonds or Mark McGwire to play them in today's game. Have special achievements for these guys to make it interesting. You should also be interviewed after big games where your answers could affect how you're treated at games from the crowd, how your manager feels about you, and where you maybe he would sit you for a game if you had bad answers, maybe affect the way pitches are called from umpires. Maybe it changes where you're in the lineup. So let's say you say something stupid at a press conference after a big game. Maybe your coach doesn't like that, and he puts you in the ninth hitting spot. So I think this would work in franchise mode as well. But they interview like the head coach rather than the players or something along those lines. Or maybe it does interview the players and it's computer generated, and based on their answers, maybe that's how you affect those players. So on the topic of franchise mode, users should have the ability to create a new team that can replace any team in the bigs, or even join a different join one of the conferences in baseball. So let's say I want to make a team called the baefed Bandits. I could design the uniforms, colors, logos, stadiums, etc., just like you can in Diamond Dynasty, and then either go in and replace a team like the Cubs or somebody like that, and then my team goes right into that conference, or maybe I just add it to another conference. Users should also be able to extend contracts during their season of their players when in franchise mode. Right now, you have to wait till the off season. In all game modes, there's a disturbing trend of the same handful of teams making the playoffs and winning the World Series every year. I think it would be cool if they'd change it up a little bit as far as having dark horse teams just come out of nowhere and win the World Series sometimes. Maybe it's just somebody you don't expect just to start having a good second half and make a run in the playoffs. It seems like every single year I play in Road to the Show, and even franchise, it's always the same teams pretty much that are at the top of the leaderboards. Even 10, 12, 15 years down the road, it's the same 5 or 6 teams that are always right there. So I think if they switch that up, make it where sometimes another team will just come out of nowhere and do good, would be good for the game. They also should, in every game mode, have rain delays, games games cut short due to weather, and make up games that affect your pitching rotations. Maybe you have to have a double header. Maybe a guy pitches 2 innings and they have a rain delay, and you have to bring out a new pitcher if they resume the game like 4 hours later. Things like that, just to make the game again a little bit more realistic. Another thing I would like to see them add is a co-op mode for Road to the Show and franchise, where you could play the same team as your friend, allow the ability to do home run derby online with your Road to Show characters against your friends' Road to the Show characters. Online as a whole, an MLB show is lacking, not just in game modes for online play, but also just the whole online itself is typically very, very laggy, very, very lackluster. I think they need to just do some stuff with that. It would be nice to get like updates of online friends, where they are in their Road to the Show or franchise, and like a ticker tape during a game that you're playing. Maybe even highlights between innings showing their Road to the Show guy. Having pickup frame, this is a big one that I would like. Having a pickup game with you and your friends where you could take all of your Road to the Show characters and MLB players and play pickup games where only you control your player on the field and when he bats. So kind of like the I forget what it's called in NBA, but basically where you can take your Road to the Show guys, all of you guys, like we could just all take our Road to the Show guys, put them on a team, and just play a pickup game where you control your guy fielding and you control your guy hitting, and then the guy next to you is controlling his guy, and so on and so forth. I think that would be very, very fun. I know this is a long video, and I didn't get to everything that I wanted to talk about, but this is the majority of, of what I wanted to get done. These are the most asked about things in Road to the Show. So if you have any other comments, questions, or if you want to see all of the other requests that were listed in the old video, there's a link on the screen right now that you can click on. There's also the link in the description. If you click on that, you can see all of the hundreds and hundreds of comments. I believe there's over 300 and something comments. And check out the other ones that I didn't get to, but these were the big ones that I felt needed to be addressed, and the ones that got the most response on the video itself. So hopefully you guys at Sony are watching this and take it to heart of what we're asking for. This isn't just coming from Joe the baseball guy. This is coming from all the people that watch my MLB 12 The Show videos, that all play the game, that all buy the game, and this is some of the things that we've thought would make MLB 13 The Show even better than it would be even if you didn't add anything to it. So appreciate all of the time of all you guys watching this. I know it's a long video, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So if you think I missed anything in this video, make sure to just leave a comment below and post it down there. And hopefully after everybody gets done watching the video, they go down to the comments and give their opinions and read all the other people's suggestions. All right, guys, I appreciate, again, all of the views, all the support over the last 6 months has been amazing. And here's to MLB 13 The Show, guys.